The stream is about to start. We'll talk about code or whatever we'll talk about today. It's about to start, so please hang tight while I check that everything is okay. Sound check, camera check, lights check. How's my hair? Oh, wait, I don't have any hair. Maybe put some pants on and I am good to go. So get ready wherever you are, 'cause the stream is about to start. Get ready wherever you are, 'cause the stream is about to start. Hello and welcome to another meeting of the C++ Digital Signal Processing JUCE study group. Hello, Siwitz. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Could be better, to be honest, but I think it will be fine after a while.
Tell me all about it. What is it?
So, if you remember previous time, I was telling that I need to replace on that Audient ID14 audio interface this IC and this IC because it was burned down. So I replaced it, and for last couple days I was experimenting and trying to run everything to get everything to work, but I failed at that task, and I don't know why.
First of all, did you get the replacement you got?
Yeah, of course. Okay. I replaced them, and looks like they should work, but I don't know where they are failing and why nothing works. Like, I have that STM32 microcontroller that I using to get some test signal from it, as well as these clocks, like master clock, serial data clock, and board clock. Till this point, everything worked fine, but here on the outputs, I'm hearing just some noise, clicking, and things, weird things, as well as from analog to digital converter, I'm getting only zeros and no data at all. So maybe on that PCB there is some extra failures, I suppose, and that is reason why they are not running properly. I'm not sure because I don't have right instruments to test everything.
What would be the right instruments in this scenario?
At least oscilloscope and proper multimeter, not the Chinese cheap one. Yeah,
I see.
Like for €5. So yeah, not cool news. Looks like it would be more productive to make something similar by my own.
Are you absolutely sure that it didn't burn the new components?
Of course, I'm not sure because I don't have instruments to test this thing. But
well, did you see any smoke?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't see any smoke, and plus, with the old analog to digital to analog converter, mode pin was in a short with ground. I probably was telling previous time this,
and
this time nothing is shorted to ground. That shouldn't be like this one's of course is shorted to ground because it's going to ground, yeah. But everything else should work fine. But I'm getting just white noise on the outputs, on the all outputs, by the way, and headphones and the main outputs, and so I don't know what is happening there and why these things happens and what I'm doing wrong.
Interesting. So, what's the next step? Do you plan on acquiring the necessary test equipment, like an oscilloscope and a good multimeter? Or are you probably just going to design something else to replace this? What's the next step?
I think then that acquiring equipment would be expensive. First of all, because I have already my own equipment in Latvia, and I see no reason to buy another equipment. And
course.
as well, if I'm using that equipment once in a year, this is also not so, how to say that, it isn't a good decision in my opinion.
Of course. And if you were with an oscilloscope, how would you go about this? Because I tend to work on simple circuits and I sometimes have a hard time even coming up with the test scenarios. And this is a much more complicated project. So suppose you have an oscilloscope and a good multimeter. What do you do with them?
For example, you can test the outputs separately from the digital to analog converter, like send here some signal or even after, I think it doesn't matter. Send here on the output some signal and then measure on the output if they are coming or no. Something like this, measure some extra points. I'm not sure even where and what, but probably yes.
I see.
Then check something on the ICs, like if the clocks and data coming properly. What else can be done here? I'm not sure.
So I guess you would, in general, try to go outside in. I mean, in terms of the IC, you would test this circuit on the upper right, which is some gain staging kind of deal, and you would try to test everything except for the IC, and if everything else works, then the problem must be in the chip, right?
Most likely. For example, I measured voltages here, and there is plus 6 volts and minus 6 volts. So I'm assuming that this part, like all powers, is working. Of course, I measured as well others, like 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and everything is working till it gets somewhere here, yeah. I'm not sure, maybe problem is in my way to program to how I send the data and how it is like tweaking by IC. Maybe it doesn't understand, maybe I'm doing something wrong or whatever. Because for example, I've used code from my old project that like first iteration, very first version of all this project when I was doing it with a giant STM microcontroller, like more hardware without operating system and things, and there that code was working properly, but difference was there that digital to analog converter was working in 16 bits. Yeah, I've adopted that code, so I assume that it should work, but it doesn't.
I see.
Funny story. Wasted time, wasted money. Yay! Life
So
is
it goes.
brilliant.
That's our hobby. And
Yeah, of course.
another thing is, did you consider coming up with a sketchy oscilloscope based on a microphone input on your phone or on your computer? Remember back when I didn't have an oscilloscope? I thought about doing some project like that, and there are all these guides for a sound card oscilloscope. Did you look into any of them?
To be honest, no, but I'm not sure that it would be good idea in this case because, for example, master clock is around 12 megahertz,
Of course.
and I even couldn't measure the the sampling frequency because it is high enough, and I assume regular audio interface can't catch up 48K frequency.
Well, it should
maybe.
be able to, right? That you can run an audio interface at 48K, even
Yes,
96, depending on the audio interface you have.
Could my internal on the laptop audio interface catch up that frequency? I'm not quite sure, to be honest.
I am not sure either, but how about we check real quick? I'm going to start sharing my screen, which may stop your screen sharing for a moment, but let's check that real quick. If I go into system settings, is something embarrassing going to come up? No. Good. Oh, and it's not even here that I want to go. I want to go there.
Like, of course, if you put your input frequency higher than 48K, like 96.
Well, in theory, with my computer, in theory, I should be able to go up to 96. Of course, in practice, I'm not going to change this now or the call is going to be weird. But in theory, I should be able to. Now, naturally, that's going to be different for every computer, but you see what I mean.
Yeah, of course. I'm not sure about that. Still, it is more, again, my English, more comfortable to work with the proper equipment, not to home, because I've tried to build something from burned out PCB and it doesn't work, so I don't want to burn out my computer as well.
Of course, yeah. In fact, I bought this little audio interface. It's just something you plug into. You probably have seen this on Amazon for like $5.
Yeah, that is.
That I got one of those because I wouldn't worry about burning it, and I still want to do this little sound card oscilloscope thing just because I think it looks like fun, even though I have an oscilloscope now. So I was just thinking if you had considered doing that.
About that, by the way, are you sure that those cheap audio interface have proper protection on the USB? Because if they don't have, you can easily burn your USB ports at least.
Fair enough. To be honest, I will be doing all these tests in a computer that I don't care about. Yeah, so I'm using an audio interface I don't care about, and I'm using a computer I don't care about, which is like 15 years old. So if it burns, and it's a ThinkPad which has like 35 USB ports. So if I burn a couple of them, I don't care.
Okay, then it's fine.
It's the computer I use to test stuff on Windows.
So yeah, somehow like that. So my probably next step is, so I ordered converters from the AliExpress, another one converters from AliExpress, just for testing purposes to set everything to work. There would be like less mess with wires and things and yeah, and then probably to start building my own PCB with blackjack and yeah.
Nice. Designing PCBs sounds like fun. I have never done it, but it
No,
sounds like fun.
it is fun, but it will add 1 extra year to my project.
Oh no.
Okay, probably maybe slightly less, but still you have to design first version, order it, make it solder or whatever, or order with soldering already, test it, find some glitches, maybe some bad things you made wrong, then redesign, order again, and it's quite long process as well.
Yeah.
I have been doing that, so yeah. Especially when you're new at these things and don't have like huge experience about that, it makes things even more complicated.
And what are you going to use to design the PCB?
I'm not sure. I heard there is a bunch of different software. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. I know that one of the best is Altium Designer, so something like that, but it is paid software. Maybe Yoho R and yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey.
I just want to say something. I have used a trial version of Altium Designer and I hate it. But you can use something else like Digital or Circuits. I think that was its name. Both of those are on GitHub. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try something. Do you hear the hum from my air conditioner?
I do.
I'm gonna try to remove it. I had updated the firmware of my Helix BSD3s, and they have created their own BSD, which cancels noise. Hopefully, it doesn't create a lot of latency. Okay, it's on. Yeah, it seems to be working.
As well, that there is a free one designer called Easy EDA. It is Chinese one and it is connected to LCSC shop. So you can design your PCB and order everything you need for it straight away from the applications, something like that. I'm not sure. I didn't use it a lot, but it is free. Yeah, you can try it.
That's what I was going to ask next, if you already know where you're going to order the PCB.
Probably China as cheapest way.
Okay.
If I at that time point will be in Latvia, I can order in Latvia as well, because there is couple manufacturers. But I'm not sure that in Latvia it would be cheaper than in China.
Of course. And I have another question for you. Did you look into the Ableton Push 3? Because it seems to do a lot of the things that you like, from being standalone to chopping samples and whatnot.
Yeah, I saw. I watched a couple of overviews about new push, and it looks like a lot of new features there. Like I assume their new pads are great and more like expression full. Like I don't know how to say it properly. Sorry. But I think it is slightly ugly on the top where there is free space, unused space. As well, it looks not so... Okay, in a standalone case, it is slightly weird why they used the Intel processor instead of kind of AMD processor. They are using some Intel i3, I assume, something like that. And there is also questions. They wrote like, in the future, they want to, how to say that, make an upgrade kits. Like if you are low on resources, you can buy another quick kit and install into it. So there is a question about cooling down all that thing. Because I assume there is only passive cooling, so it is make some kind of limitations. So yeah, but in general, it of course looks fun and great without microphone inputs, but still.
Did you buy one?
No, of course. Why I should buy one?
You didn't even consider buying one, it seems.
No, thank you. I'm not playing music so regular to buy to spend how much it costs, 2,000 euros standalone version.
Yeah,
okay.
The standalone version is a bit expensive, I would say.
If I was producing music like every day, then of course it would be great investment and the things, but until I don't do such things, I see no point in that.
Well, it's a fun thing. It's a fun little device. And you have a previous version.
Yeah, but I'm... Damn my vocabulary. I'm fine enough with the push 2.
I remember having a push 1 and it was already a great device.
To be honest, didn't have a push 1 because my friend told me it is not so good as second version. So I bought already second version.
Fair enough. All right.
So yeah, that's my update. I don't know what to say. Slowly keep writing some code. But it is going very slow and yeah.
Keep writing code, keep ordering stuff from AliExpress, keep waiting for stuff to show up and then burning it. So it goes.
Yeah. Funny things. No, I'm not sure that those ICs are burned down. I think I'm just doing things wrong in some way. Maybe there is something other burned down, so I have white noise on the outputs. Yeah. Kind of that.
Sounds like an expensive white noise machine for the time being. It will get there. It will get there.
Oh, of course. Slowly, but someday.
Oh, and people here on the chat, let's say hello to them. They are talking about push. So this is a digital probe is relatively inexpensive, so it could be something you could use. You can make one of them with like an Arduino, I think. I saw some projects online for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw as well. There is some cheap digital probes like till 10 megahertz on AliExpress that you can even solder by yourself and things, but I'm angry today.
I want to look this up. I don't think I knew about this. So it's something to use Ableton Push in Reaper. Nice. I'll learn more about this at some point.
So maybe I should start just producing some music and not to mess up with the programming things.
They are both fun things to do. Right. So, Fotis, what do you have for us? How are you doing?
Okay. First of all, is the noise remover okay? Does it produce latency on my voice? I hope not.
It's perfect.
Awesome. Hold on a second. I'm gonna type something. Because I have a surprise for you people. And it's awesome. I just have to...
Let me guess, you're compiling something.
No, I already compiled it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm writing the description on GitHub. First time I ever did it. Oh my god. Are you guys ready?
I was born ready.
I'm gonna post something in the chat. And the link starts with GitHub.
Let's check it out. It's a synth.
It's wild. I finally finished it. It's out in the wild. My first ever free open source synth plugin is out for you today to download. Unfortunately, only Windows 64-bit VST3 for now, but I plan to make some changes. But yeah, let me share my screen so I can show the changes. Oh, hey, Bo. But I plan to make some changes. But yeah, let me share my screen so I can show the changes. Oh, hey, Bo. Oh, I'm listening to myself now.
Yeah.
What happens? Yes, let me share my screen. It's from Bo, I guess.
Yeah, Bo, I'm muting you because you were giving us some feedback, but you probably will figure out whatever is happening and you can unmute yourself. And if you cannot unmute yourself, let me know. I don't know, it's the first time I'm muting someone else. Anyway, Fotis, can you show us Wild?
Yes. I'm gonna show it both on Reaper and on HISE, so I can show what I changed since last time. First of all, let's put Wild to the test. I have already demonstrated it, but now you're gonna see the full fixed version. One sec, I'm loading HISE as well. There we go. So as you can see, I have a new GUI. It's slightly more colorful. The keys are still wrong. I know. I tried a lot, but this is the best I could do. Sorry. I know I'm hitting your OCD right now. I know it hits mine. So
did you see the latest that came out of Adobe Photoshop?
Oh yeah, I have it. And I tried it, and it made it worse.
Oh no!
So yeah, AI is still not capable of destroying humanity. You can rest safe. Anyway, so here is Wild. And it's an anti-chiptune synth. What I mean by anti is that it's not meant to produce the sweet, lovely sounds that you made with your NES. But it's more ugly and more avant-garde like that. In fact, is Tail with us today in the chat?
Maybe, well, not in the chat. Maybe he's watching, but not in the chat.
In a previous meeting, he described Wild as being a chiptune organ, and he's not wrong. Anyway, so Wild is both monophonic and polyphonic. It can go up to 256 voices. I don't have 256 fingers. And also, let's go to 16, whatever. We have the Wilder. Do you remember this thing? It was called Effect in the previous release. So
Hang on,
it's
I
an
have a
effect.
question. You have 15.28 voices. That doesn't compute.
Oh yeah, that's an error. It doesn't work. I just forgot to place to remove the decimal.
Ah, okay.
But it's not calculating it. It's still gonna be 48 voices if it's like this.
Okay.
I guess. Feel free to test it out, people. So Wilder is a pile of crazy effects that you can turn on with this, and it turns it into a complete chiptune monster. Let's turn down the gain. Now the crazy thing about Wilder is that if you turn it down and you increase the attack. Oh wait, that was a feedback from Wilder. It's still gonna quiet down. Okay. So you have your regular ADSR, but if you turn on Wilder, it completely ignores that. I mean, the effect is still there, but it's slightly more pronounced. Because it completely destroys the sound, but still it's perfectly safe, and I'm gonna show you why. So we have, this is how I did it, and you can check it out yourselves because I have released the entire HISC project folder on GitHub, so you can download it yourself and build it. So if anyone wants to help me make a Mac or Linux build, you're free to do so. Just download this, build the latest nightly of HISC, load this thing, and you should be able to compile it. Anyway, so and also it doesn't use any samples. It's just a synth, an oscillator, the default HISC oscillator, so you have no external dependencies. We have the send container is what in the heart of Wilder, because we have an effect slot that sends it into a saturator that's crazy, and an LFO that's also crazier. You can adjust it from the LFO here, and a wave shaper that's also crushing it into oblivion. But we also have a DC remover, so those artifacts that you heard are actually made by the DC remover to keep things safe. And whether you have Wilder turned on and off, you're still safe because I have placed a limiter at the very end of the processing chain. So you can, this thing will never go up to 0 dB. Anyway, so Wild is ready, and I'm open to suggestions on how to make this even better and more fun. And I may do some other things in the future with it. I don't know. I think it's complete, and I will move to something else. That's why I released it, because I wanted to move on.
What's the LFO about?
Oh yeah, this is a vibrato, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, it's a pitch LFO. It's a vibrato, yeah. So if we combine it with Wilder, you have a distorted vibrato. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you guys for giving me the motivation to do this, to make my very first. Since remember, a year ago I couldn't even figure out how to build HISC. I was banging my head against the wall, and I have made the synth. So yeah.
Congratulations on the release.
Thank you. I have some more stuff to talk about and show you people. And also I would like us to make some JSFX magic. But first, I wanted to talk about some new JSFX that Tail dropped. That's why I was waiting for Tail, but I guess he's not online right now. I don't know. Maybe he's watching, but it's not in the chat. Anyway, so if in case you missed it on our Discord, Leandro Facchinetti channel on the unofficial Reaper group, Tail dropped a couple of new JSFX, and they're these things: a music box. What was it called? Box, a toy music box. I like that it's not covering the complete 88 keys, but it's only on the range of an actual music box from E4, and then it stops after E5. You can use the C major tuning, or the chromatic scale, so you can play it like a piano. Also, we have a pitch modulator, and you can adjust the speed of the the vibrato. If you do some small adjustments, you can play it like a Rhodes piano. You can do some fancy effects and also adjust the decay. And there is also a nice reverb. I think it's slightly detuning the right and the left channel to create an ambience. And the other thing that Tail dropped is a PC speaker synth. Are you guys familiar with PC speaker? I'm gonna show the Wikipedia article for it. So PC speaker was a synth that was in very early computer motherboards that produced a very chiptune-like sound. So yeah, I'm not the only one who dropped a chiptune synth. But let me show you the Wikipedia page. So back when computers didn't have any sound cards or onboard sound cards and motherboards, there was this thing called the PC speaker, and it was invented in 1981 by IBM.
No, I hate PC with this one.
Oh, yeah. I think it was also, no. The ZX Spectrum had a beeper. It was different from the PC speaker.
When you were powering your PC, it was making some weird noises.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think the beep that was heard when you were turning on the PC, I think it was made from the PC speaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, we have a pitch bend range. I don't have a MIDI controller plugged in right now, so I can't test it, but I'll trust Tail. We also have your vibratos and stuff. And also, I like this thing. You can choose between the direct output or speaker, which is again a reverb, and also a low pass filter. So it kind of emulates, it kind of emulates how it would sound like if it was coming out of an actual PC. And now I have a very embarrassing story to share. Dad is watching. Dad, you're watching, right? So 15 years ago, I was a teenager and I came back from school, and my dad was sleeping in the other room, and I was playing Doom on his computer. And I was wearing headphones because I didn't want to wake him up. And you know that Doom normally uses MIDI music and wave sound effects, right? But as I was fiddling around in the game settings, I found an option that said PC speaker. And I was like, what is that? And I turned it down, and suddenly some chiptune sounds started coming from inside the computer. And I woke up my dad. And he was so pissed at me. So yeah, moral of the story: never use PC speaker for games, kids. Never. Don't do it. Headphones are not gonna save you. Sorry, Dad.
Or have some volume control.
Yeah. It's even harder to do it on the PC speaker.
Fair enough.
I think yeah. And for anyone who's interested, you can download the other stuff from Tail, because he's one of the few people who have managed to create an actual polyphonic synth in JSFX. And I think the way he has achieved it is by using this library that's called Array, I guess. And you see this thing called polyblep. Have you heard of this? This is the oscillator that Tail is using. And I found a pretty cool resource on this. I'm gonna post it in the chat for anyone interested. It's gonna be uploaded on the study notes of the C++ group on Leandro's GitHub. What was it called? Oscillators. Oh yeah. So this is an article by a two-part article by Phil and Kane, who is a Max for Live genius and Max in general, but he has created two articles that are not specifically about Max, they're about oscillators in general. And he has some 3D graphs where you can see how aliasing is happening on some oscillators. So this is an anti-aliased oscillator, and this is an aliased oscillator. So you can see the peaks and valleys and how they're happening. And the second part of the article is giving you some ways on how to get rid of aliasing in oscillators. And this is how Tail does it. It's called band-limited step function. So BLEP is like not really an acronym. B and L is band-limited, but EP comes from step. Don't look at me, I didn't name this stuff. It's weird. But the interesting thing about Surge XT, I think I've mentioned it in a previous meeting. So Surge, the oscillator in Surge, is using a combination of these two methods, differentiated and polynomial. And if you go to GitHub, I'm gonna show it in practice. Hold on. And also this oscillator that I'm going to show is available both on Surge XT and also on my beloved modular synth Cardinal. So you can play with it, and also you can get the source code from GitHub. The file is called modernoscillator.cpp, and they explain in the comments why and how they did it. So these are the two methods that I was differentiated and polynomial. But these guys, the Surge guys, made differentiated polynomial waveforms. And this is just so you know that if you want to try it yourself and do a comparison between the BLEP that Tail made and also the regular oscillator, this is the classic oscillator that's gonna alias no matter what. And this is the modern one with the differentiated polynomial waveforms. And unfortunately, I couldn't get Signalizer to work, that great 3D oscilloscope or spectrum analyzer. Unfortunately, it made my Reaper crash, I don't know why. So I couldn't show you the aliasing and anti-aliasing, but if you want to try it yourself, I just gave you the things to work with. What else? I'm very excited for what Psyche is cooking. I don't know if he wants me to spoil it, but if you want to see it for yourself, you can go to Psyche's GitHub page. But I'm gonna give a slight hint. It's gonna be an instrument. he's making his newest JSFX instrument, and I haven't tried it yet, and I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but it should be very cool. Now, enough about stuff. Are you interested in helping me make a JSFX light version of SIK plugin with no GUI at all, or is it?
We can try. It's probably gonna be
Yeah.
too much to do in one session, but we can get started on something.
Yeah, we can get started. So I talked about it in the previous meeting. This is Filter. And it blew your mind because it has a scroll bar in JSFX. So what I want to do is just this part, just this. I want to have a drop-down menu. I want to check to select the filter bank, and just two faders, cutoff and resonance, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Does it sound like something we can begin doing?
Yeah. So one thing we can start with is, let's make a copy of this plugin because we are going to start changing the code. And what we can do is open the code while we move around the slider and we select different options from the drop-down menu and try and find what is the corresponding slider in the code. That will give us a good first hint.
I just created the copy. Filter light. So I open the edit and I move the knobs and I see the little values on the right.
Correct.
Like this. Oops.
And we are interested in the sliders. So perhaps on the right pane there is a filter box below, right above the refresh now button.
Okay.
And in that box type slider.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, that one. And type slider, so it will filter for sliders.
I typed it, it's searching. It's a bit heavy.
Oh, this is a big plugin.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge. Oh, it's still not done. Oh my god. Well, okay, it's done now. Okay.
It's done now. And scroll down and let's try and find the part where it's just slider 1, slider 2. Yeah, that part.
Okay.
So if we don't move any sliders in the plugin, these values don't change. Perfect. Now let's go perhaps to the drop-down menu and change to another type of filter. And we'll try and spot what is the number that changes. So yeah, put the two windows side by side.
I should do it. I should do it in a way that we can see both of these. That should be enough. And let's pick this one. Also, do you see that ventilator animation or fan? It's crazy.
Oh, I had not
it's very
seen
subtle.
that. No.
Yeah. Anyway, let's change another filter. No. Nothing. Should I scroll down?
Yeah, I guess just scroll down and we'll keep hunting.
Nope. Oh, we're reached the
I
end.
think
Let's see.
slider 47 changing.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. It's a slider 47. Good eyes. Thank you. See which.
There you go. So slider 47. Let's go in the code and try and find slider 47. It should be before the init section. It should be one of the first things, probably after these comments.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, and you have the entire list.
The entire list of options. And then let's go to the right. So scroll to the right or move your cursor to the right, because we are interested in the description that appears after all the options. It's going to be a long list.
If I press the end button.
That should work. All right.
Bum.
And you see how there is that minus sign before filter type? Remove the minus sign. and save. Now, Reaper will render the default dropdown for that option in the user interface of the program.
Oh, it's loading. Wait, okay, I think it did it. Oh, there it is.
There it is. And now we rinse and repeat for the other two parameters that we care about. And they're probably going to be slider 48 and slider 49, right? It makes sense. But let's repeat the technique.
Yeah. It's cut off. Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah, I think it's 48. Yeah, it's 48. And the resonance is 49. Yeah, there you go.
Great.
So, slide down. Okay. Boom. Boom. Save. And we'll wait.
And then...
It takes a little while to render. Oh, there you go. There they are.
And then at this point, we may just get rid of the custom user interface, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, just find the JSFX section and get rid of it.
Oh yeah, I actually did that in the previous Psyche plugin. It was called Abyss Reverb, and it had those drops that were straining my CPU, and so I created the light version and I just deleted that. It was Psyche's idea, by the way. There you go. Oh, no, is that the right one?
No, search for JSFX.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a chance that this will break everything, because depending on how he's doing stuff, the JSFX section may set variables that are necessary for the audio to work. But we can try. Doesn't hurt to try. Just remove everything.
Okay, can I comment it out?
I suppose the line that starts with @JSFX needs to be commented out in a special way. So just do like // That's good. But then for everything below that, you can just go to the next line and do /* or asterisk.
Oh, yeah.
And then scroll down. And... oh, there is another instance of a comment. So just delete that section of code. It will make things easier for us.
Oh, wait, this one?
Yeah, just delete the whole JSFX section. Don't bother with commenting things out.
Okay.
We have the source code if we need it.
Okay. Whoa. Oops. No. Or, as Aria would say, shabloinks. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you want to have a user interface with hidden fans turning around and scrolling panes, this is what you need.
Boom. Deleted.
All right,
let's
save that.
Huh. Okay, the interface is gone. Now let's test it. And why don't we test it on wild?
Fair enough.
It's an ex.
And John is here on the chat saying, poor JSFX section. A lot of work that we are getting rid of.
By the way, I became a Patreon supporter of John today. So yeah, please support your developers. I should have connected my MIDI keyboard in retrospect. Wait, I'm just gonna create a MIDI item and create some random notes. So here it is, the worst melody in the universe.
It's It's working.
Oh. Yeah. Let's go to the reverbs. This is the spring reverb.
Spring.
Spring, yeah, it's a spring reverb. The metallic reverb. So we did it. We did it. Wow, it works. It works. So this is how you destroy a Psyche plugin, everyone. This is how you make it ugly and boring. I'm sorry, Psyche, but sometimes I need some plain stuff. Maybe it's my Air Windows obsession, but sometimes I need things that are plain and GUI-less. I hope you're cool with that. And I look forward to that plugin. I didn't spoil what it is. So yeah.
For bonus points as homework, you could try and go into the sample section and try and get rid of code that is not doing anything. Because this plugin does a lot more than a filter.
Yeah, it has a wave shaper.
So if you get rid of the stuff that is not really used, it will become faster.
Yeah, I could try that because there are some stuff like the Crybaby, which is a wah that uses a ton of CPU. Take a look at the CPU meter in here. Check how it explodes when you select Crybaby.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah, the filter is expensive on its own. So if I remove some of the stuff, it could be even lighter. You get only the.
I guess that's a limitation of JSFX. There is only so much you can do in the language, because in C++ you would first of all be faster to begin with, because C++ is generally faster than JSFX, but also if necessary in C++ you can do crazy, even going down to assembly and SIMD, SIMD, and those things you can simply not do with JSFX. So it's the nature of the game.
I removed the sliders we don't need.
Not a good idea.
Oh, no, really? Oh, yeah, because it has to enumerate them, yeah.
Because those are variables that have default values.
Okay.
And if you don't set them, the default value will be 0, and probably things will blow up.
Yeah, okay, I restored them. Anyway, so that was fun. Yeah, it was easier than I thought it would be. So yeah, like you said, the homework for next time will be to make it even lighter by removing all the other stuff we don't need.
That is a bit more challenging, actually.
Else?
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, I'll have. What else could we do? What else can I? Oh, also, I helped Psyche fix a bug in Swellatron, so you're welcome. Oh yeah. Yeah, also this could be, if CWITS is interested, this could be a thing that you could play with Ableton Push. It's called Bric-a-Brac, and you can use it in order to load some samples in pads, and you can use them to enhance music. For example, these are, and you can either trigger them or use an envelope follower. So you can place a white noise sample if you want to make a snare sound louder, for instance. Or you can do various other stuff that I haven't checked out yet, but it should be fun to play with a push. And speaking of push, did you see that in Push 3 you can also use it without a computer? You can use it with modular synths. It has a CV output, so that's cool. Yeah, I think I forgot. There was something final that I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I forgot to post the links for the oscillator stuff. I'll do it in a bit. But did I want to show anything else?
Those
regarding
algorithms are
HIs.
actually kind of interesting. So perhaps we can talk about them a little bit. So if you just do an oscillator the naive way, like for instance, for a square wave, you output -1 and 1, and you alternate between them every so many samples. If you do an oscillator that way, which is incidentally what rear synth does, you will get a lot of aliasing because you're doing discontinuities that are too big. And
I'm gonna do it with the sound turned off. And
put an oscilloscope in there.
And an oscilloscope, yeah.
Or maybe even, one thing that I used to do to try these things out is to also put a frequency spectrum analyzer, because the other thing I would do is just modulate the pitch of Reasynth, and I can modulate that with Reaper, right? Nothing fancy there. But then you can see the alias frequencies going in the wrong direction. So that was kind of cool.
Which oscilloscope did we use the last time? Was it yours?
You don't need an oscilloscope for this. Put just the frequency spectrum analyzer, and you see the peaks dancing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the sawtooth. It's easier to see the aliasing than a sawtooth. So yeah, it's freaking out.
Can you do something, since you are doing the test setup that I had in mind? Play a node in Reasynth continuously and automate. In Reasynth there is a slider for pitch.
Oh yeah.
Tuning.
Okay.
So touch that and then dash. Put an LFO there.
Should I do it a sine or random?
A sine is perfect.
Okay.
And probably you want to lower the strength, because this is going like 2 octaves, right? It's going 1 octave down and 1 octave up. And you probably want to just have like 100 cents or 1 semitone. Whatever. And now hold a node.
Yeah.
And we'll see the peaks moving the wrong way.
Is that it?
To be honest, I don't see peaks going the wrong way. Because they're probably too low in volume, right? Maybe they are too low in volume. Or how about we play a node that is a couple octaves up?
Okay.
Because those will be easier to see.
I love this.
In terms of aliasing.
I love this. I always wanted to do this experiment, but I didn't know how. So yeah.
And aliasing is a bigger issue in a synthesizer. It's a bigger issue when you go up the scale.
How about now?
Go even further. Go to like a C5 or something.
The highest. Okay, this is F5.
Fair enough. And to be honest, I still don't see a lot of aliasing on this.
Should I make the tuning stronger? Like the parameter? Like this?
No, I think that this should be fine.
Am I using the wrong? Should I use a square wave?
Use a square. Yeah, you can use a square.
With the PWM, like this? Oh. We have a DC offset.
Maybe this spectral analyzer is smoothing things out. No, that would not explain this. I don't know. I don't see a lot of aliasing there. There is some aliasing, but it's like at -60. Whatever.
Should I try different, like Voxengo span?
Whatever. Yeah. The point remains that I have seen this synth in the past, and I know that. Now I think I see some waves going the wrong direction.
Okay.
Going to the left.
Let's.
Well, not going to the left is not the wrong thing. If the waveform, if the peaks on the spectral analyzer are meeting and then going apart, that's wrong. They should all be going in the same direction. They should never be doing this. Anyway,
let's do it on the saw wave.
this is just the naive way of doing. It was a square wave before, right? And these techniques that we saw on that website, they try to prevent aliasing. And one simple way to prevent aliasing is to just oversample. So in your oscillator, you run at double the sample rate, and then you only output on the regular sample rate. So perhaps in your oscillator, you're running at 96K, and then you only output every other sample for 48K.
Let's do it.
And if you do that, you get rid of aliasing. Let's do that.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Boom. You have to restart the playback. Boom. Oh.
It is different now.
Yeah, it is.
So that gets rid of aliasing.
not
The problem
perfect,
is
though.
that it is CPU intensive to do this for all your oscillators if you have
Yeah.
many voices and whatnot. So these techniques that we saw are ways to get rid of aliasing without oversampling. And I forget what is the name, but it is one of those, blap or blip or whatever.
Yeah,
And
the blep one.
One of the most straightforward techniques to explain and to understand that get you kind of some intuition of how this works is, imagine you're trying to do a square wave and you are naive. You are just outputting -1 and 1. And we know that the shape of a band-limited
Sorry.
square wave... We know that the shape of a band-limited square wave will be, instead of going straight from -1 to 1 with a sharp line, it will be like a couple squiggles, and then it will jump up, but not immediately. It's not going to be a straight line. It's going to go at an angle, and then it's going to do some squiggles. So it's going to overshoot a bit, and then it's going to stop at some point, right? So that's what a band-limited signal, band-limited square wave looks like in the time domain. So what if you chop this transition and you remember this transition? So you just make a stamp out of it, right? And then you produce the naive square wave, but anytime you are seeing one of those jumps, just put the stamp on it, right? You just copy and paste that chunk of time there. This will guarantee that the result will be band limited, and you don't have to oversample for this to work. So you just do, I guess one way of thinking about this is you band limit once, so you do the whole oversampling, band limiting and whatnot to get one discontinuity, and then you copy and paste this discontinuity everywhere in your naive oscillator. And that will get you a band limited oscillator, which is kind of a fun technique. And it is the basis of all these other oscillators.
I'm trying to create a pitch bend and send the info to the tails polyblip so I can replicate that tuning we did, but I can't do it.
Oh.
Not without listening.
I think that one supported the mod wheel, didn't it? So you could do some mod wheel automation on an automation item in Reaper and whatnot. But
there is. Yeah, I used one. But what was it? I have an effect chain, not fun. There it is. I'm deleting this. We don't need it. Just use this. The mod wheel. Oh. Nope. Oh, maybe we have to use a different tail synth. Oh yeah, that one. It's called Monopoly. Sorry again. Well. No, it's not working. Yeah, either. But yeah, you can see in the website what a polyblep oscillator looks like. And also, if you
contrary to what you said, when I was playing around with Surge, not even the classic oscillators aliased, but I may be misremembering, but I think that they don't have any aliasing oscillators.
Oh, the classic doesn't alias?
I don't think so. I don't think they have an implementation. I don't think that they have the sophistication of ReaSynth with true aliasing oscillators.
Oh yeah, because Bacon Paul, one of the developers of Surge, I read on Discord that the default oscillators on bespoke synths were aliasing, not Surge.
Maybe.
So
I may
yeah.
be misremembering because it has been some time since I tested this.
And speaking of stuff, if you want a super free and beautiful synth that you can test out, so we have on Cardinal. No, we go to Surge XT, and you have the modern and the classic one. So, oh wait, but anyway, there is also a polyblep inside Cardinal. I forget where it is. But if I type blep.
And I should mention also the trade-off.
Friendly.
I should mention the trade-off. Yeah. The trade-off is that using these techniques, you can do anti-aliasing with low CPU cost, but the price you pay is that you cannot do any waveform. These techniques are for like a square wave or for a sawtooth and so on. You cannot do, with the technique of just oversampling, you can do any oscillator and it will be free of aliasing, right? It's more generic. It is more CPU intensive, but it is more generic. So that's the trade-off.
Interesting. So yeah, I forget. What did we discuss on Discord the other day? Oh, it wasn't an addition to Reaper that I found recently. A Lua script, I think it was. I can't look at Discord right now, and I can't remember it, so I guess I'll just wrap it up. So yeah, I'm gonna post it on the Discord if I remember it. So yeah, that was my update. Hope you enjoyed it. And hey, while this out, go check it out, please, and help me make a Mac or Linux build, please. It would be very appreciated. Yeah. Oh, and also it's available as a GPL version 3, as is the standard for all HISC projects. And so you are free to take my project and do whatever you want with it, as long as you use the same license.
All right. Bo, do you want to give us an update, or are you here just for listening? If you want to give us an update, let me know. Meanwhile, I didn't do anything.
Oh, he's muted.
Well, he is muted, but I can unmute him. But only if he wants to, so just here for the vibes. Thought so. Okay, so I didn't prepare anything in advance. I didn't work on any C++ this week. But I thought it would be fun to do one more of those little exercises, the Project Euler stuff, because I want to do some C++. So let's go.
Yeah, speaking of those, I peeped at a YouTube video about something called delete code. Is it like a Project Euler? Does it have problems and solutions?
I'm not sure. I remember people talking about this when they are interviewing.
Yeah, one of these guys solved like 500 lead code problems, and now he scored a job at Google.
Yeah. That sounds reasonable. So I think it's one of those things when you're interviewing in one of those big tech companies, they give you some text editor using this thing, and then it's like Google Docs where both people can see the code at the same time. But I don't remember using it. But yeah, it seems like it comes with a bunch of problems, and then even some courses, it seems, because there is like a new way to learn. I'm not familiar with that. So we have worked on some of these, but I don't remember how many. Oh, and last time we worked on this solution for a problem that had to do with prime numbers, and it was kind of slow. Not kind of slow, it was super slow, and it didn't finish on time for the stream, but it finished a couple minutes later. So I decided to not optimize this one and just move on. Let's try and do problem number 4. Largest palindrome product. Let's see. A palindromic number reads the string both ways. The largest palindrome made from the product of 2-digit numbers is this.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, I am not. Well, I am with this stream, but not with you all here on Skype. Now I am. Thanks for saying that. Find the largest palindrome made from the product of 3-digit numbers. So if I want, I guess let's start with the setup. Do I want to install the recommended Makefile tools extension? No, not right now, maybe in the future. And I will not need any prime testing, so I will get rid of this. And I will get rid of that as well. Well, I will keep this as a comment for later. So to begin with, let's try the 2-digit one to see if we can get this number, and then we increase the number of digits. What I want to do is have 2 factors, multiply them, and test if the result is a palindrome. So for int number 1, and if I want to have 2-digit numbers, I'm going to start at 99. And I am doing an AND condition here, but I don't, strictly speaking, I don't need it, because as soon as I find a palindrome, I will stop. So I will not put any conditions here, which is kind of atypical for a for loop to skip a condition, but you can. And number 1 minus minus. And then I will repeat that for number 2. And then I will have an is palindrome number, or I guess let's have a name for this. Potential palindrome. Or maybe not. I will just have some if condition here. So to do test palindrome. I don't like how this part below is like jumping around. It's probably clang D saying that it's analyzing and then it's idle, but it jumps around in a way that bothers me. And if it is a palindrome, I will do this, which prints a palindrome, and I will also do return 0. So there will be an if here at some point, which for now is going to be like if true. So a program like this should print 99 times 99. And what is 99 times 99? Okay, so far so good. How do we test if a number is a palindrome? I suppose I could try to turn the number into a string and then reverse the string. That's probably the easiest way to go about this. Another option would be to just start dividing the number by 10 and checking the remainder of the division. That seems like a lot of work. So C++ integer to string. What is this website? I don't trust it. Stack Overflow. I trust this one. Answer.
Stack Overflow.
You include this library and then you use that. Awesome.
We're gonna sound like grandpas, like, oh, you little kids and your ChatGPTs. Back in my day, all we had was Stack Overflow.
Oh, so if you all have access to ChatGPT, then try and copy and paste, or maybe even better, just say to ChatGPT, can you give me an answer in C++ for Project Euler problem number 4? And see what it comes up with, and we can compare with what I come up with. Anyhow,
Okay, I'll do it.
awesome,
I'll do it.
Thanks.
It's problem 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on it.
Okay, so this is a string version of our potential palindrome. Next, I want to C++ reverse string. DigitalOcean, yeah, I trust these people. Using the reverse function in C++.
Oh, wait, what is that noise?
Oh, coming from here, there are some renovations happening in the building here.
Okay.
String graph. This is some old stuff. Yikes, no, I don't want to use C string. Usually when a library starts with C, it is, of course, a C library. And in this case, it means that this library works with strings using the C notion of a string, which is an array of characters like this one. And I much rather use the C++ string like we are doing here. So there must be some method or function that I can use. How to reverse an SCD string. Perfect. Oh, first I have to create a copy. Okay. Okay. I get it. So, and also I could be using auto here. Why do you complain about this? Auto specifier is a C++11 extension. Okay. But when I try and compile this, does it break? It does. Yikes. Okay, I'll be explicit. Potential palindrome reversed, which is going to be just a copy to begin with. Or even just that. Then I will call that method. Like so. And now I want to comment on this real quick. There are functions that operate by creating a new object, in this case a new string, and there are functions that operate in place, mutating the existing object. And this one does the second option. So it will reverse this in place. It will change the representation of this string. That's why we need to have a copy. Now, for the last part, compare strings. 3 ways to compare strings. Again, this is using the C version. I don't want that.
Leandro, don't look at the chat.
Because you already have the answer? And does it work?
We don't know.
Okay.
Both me and Bo typed it at the same time, but Bo also posted it in the chat. And I only
does
have
it give
in my
the
breath.
same answer to you and Bo?
Let me compare it. I'm not gonna say what it says, but I'm gonna compare the strings.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be identical. Oh wait, no.
Interesting.
No, it's not. It does have some slight differences here and there.
So it seems like the way I can do this is by calling compare on one of these strings, like so. And what does compare return? If it is equal to 0, then strings are equal. Equal to 0. Okay, good. If my program works as I think it does, we will get the answer for the 2-digit numbers. So we will get this number, 9009. And we do.
Okay, this, yes.
Yay! So
Awesome.
now let's see if this program is fast enough to do the 3-digit version. Well, it answered with a number that is a palindrome. Now,
Excellent.
is this the largest one? To answer that, I will sign in.
By the way, look at this product design. It's brilliant. It's like a clear plastic thing that looks like a glass, but it's not. And the entire fruit is printed on that. Sorry for the tangent. It's called OKF. It's blurring it, sorry. But it's a soft drink with strawberry flavor. And I really like this clean, minimalistic approach. Anyway, please carry on. This is how I should design GUIs for plugins.
Oh no, we did not get the right answer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, without spoiling anything, I just want to say that the answers me and Bo got were almost identical, except for the names of the variables. Bo used just the word reverse, while in mine it used reverse number. That was just a nice little nuance, like it was two different people who wrote the same thing with slightly different variables. That's
interesting.
it's
well,
creepy.
I guess I could have searched on Google for something higher level, like how to tell if two numbers are palindromes in C++. But I decided to come up with an approach and just Google for the building blocks to my approach. But anyhow, why is my answer not the correct answer? I wonder.
Yeah.
Probably the problem is that I am decreasing a number. These two nested loops are probably the issue. Because the way this works is I'm trying to multiply 999 by 999, 998, 997, 996, and so on. And if I find a palindrome, I output that as the correct answer. But it may be the case that 999 times 5 is a palindrome, and it is a smaller number than 998 times 998, which could also be a palindrome. You see what I mean? So perhaps the solution is to... Well, now we kind of already know the answer, which I probably shouldn't have done. But let's say that the answer is 0.
Your answer is shorter.
Yeah, my answer is smaller. And it should be. So how about we don't stop the program and we print the answer in the end. And if the numbers are palindromes, and they are, the potential palindrome is bigger than our answer, we say that our answer is now that. In other words, now I'm brute forcing this search space. I am looking at every possible number. Let's start with 999. Let's start with 99. Let's start with the 2 digits. So the difference is now that I'm exhausting this space. I'm never stopping the search. I'm only stopping it when I reach the end. Oh, and that means that I need to put some conditions here, because this will not stop. So number 1 needs to be greater than 0. Number 2 needs to be greater than 0. And there, yeah, I think that this does it. Let's see. It is a bit slower, but it does get me the right answer. And now let's try 3 digits and see if my computer is fast enough to do this. And it is fast enough. It gives me the right answer. So yay, we did it. We only messed up once. And we kind of cheated by looking at the answer. But now, that was Leandro. Or I guess not just me, but humans, right? Because I was also looking at Stack Overflow and whatnot. So this is number 4 by humans.
And you're gonna compare it to the ChatGPT answer?
I will compare to both the Fotis as well as the Bow version.
Hold on, I'm gonna paste it.
And I will create the files.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Someone is knocking. Give me a moment. I will mute myself. But you all can continue to chat.
Okay, I posted my answer from ChatGPT, and also I'm gonna post something else that ChatGPT wrote immediately after that. It's a small small way of speaking. 2 paragraphs where ChatGPT is explaining its method.
And Leandro didn't mute his microphone.
He didn't mute. Oopsie. So you didn't mute. You didn't mute Leandro. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So now everyone is back. I muted on YouTube. And people who are doing the renovations here, they want to turn off the lights. They want to turn off the lights for the whole house. So I asked them to wait for some AI stuff to happen. So
yeah, you could use an OBS filter for night vision, so it looks like paranormal activity.
And how do I do the stream? How do I call on Skype? I guess I would need to use my phone and that thing. Anyways, let's create these files.
Oh, annoying.
Hello!
Oh, he's back! Oh my god, he's back!
Oh.
I am back, and I wonder if the stream is back as well. Let's check that. So I asked them for 10 more minutes, and they were like, yeah, sure. And then they started trying to do stuff without turning off the breaker. And they shorted the power lines, and then the breaker popped. But I guess we are back now. I see the stream here, and it seems to be healthy, and the levels here are bouncing, and you are all here. So I guess
Leandro,
we are back.
Remember when this happened to me a couple of months ago? The power got cut off in my room, and then when I came back, you guys had left.
Oh, I do not remember that. But yeah, that's what you get when you start messing with
Oh,
AI. AI will be like,
The
no,
robot
we will
overlords
take
will
over your
destroy us all.
jobs. All right, okay, so the answers are here on the chat, I suppose. And Bo pasted first, so we'll try his version. And compare it to mine. So this is Bo. This is Fotis. And it comes with an explanation. Not bad.
Yeah. I think both came with an explanation as well, but he didn't post, I guess.
Okay, so first of all, I'm interested in just staring at it for a moment. So it is extracting a function, which I thought about doing and ended up not doing. And it is doing the whole division by 10 and looking at the reminder stuff that I thought about doing instead of converting into a string. So I haven't really understood all these lines, but it stands to reason that you are like dividing the number by 10 over and over, looking at the reminder over and over, and this line, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, you are building up a reverse from that. So this strategy seems solid, and if you end up with equal numbers, then it is a palindrome. The largest palindrome product is doing the whole accumulation thing that I was thinking about. And it is actually testing numbers that are 3 digits. In my version, you could, in theory, go down to numbers that are not 3 digits because I used the wrong ending here. If you want to guarantee that these are going to be 3 digits, you need to do it like that. Now I'm not changing my answer anymore. This is what I came up with. So if there were no palindromes with 3-digit numbers, I would end up giving an answer, while the correct answer would be to not give an answer, if that makes sense. Okay, they named their variables in a more traditional way. They came up with a product, and yeah, this looks exactly like what I wrote. And then they returned that, and then, they also extracted a function for this. The largest palindrome made blah, 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 so they explain what the number is. So overall, this seems pretty solid. And by the way, were your prompts to ChatGPT just give me an answer to Project Euler for problem number 4 in C++, or did you copy and paste the prompt of the problem?
Yeah, that's what I typed. I typed exactly, could you give me an answer to Euler problem number 4 in C++?
Awesome, that's great. I love it.
And yes, it says, of course, Euler problem number 4, also known as Project Euler number 4, involves finding the largest palindrome made from the product of 2 3-digit numbers. I can help you with this solution in C++. Here's an example implementation.
And it gives me the right answer. Not bad, ChatGPT. Now let's look at the Fotis version. It is using the same strategy, written slightly differently, but overall...
Yeah, instead of using the word reverse number, it just uses reverse on both.
So I am very confident that this is going to work first try. Not bad, not bad. Now the question is, between humans and ChatGPT, if you were to look at this code as a human, of course that's the intent of code, right? We didn't ask ChatGPT to give us the assembly for this. We asked for, or even the machine code for this. We asked for C++, so we intend humans to read this. Which version you as a human would rather read? I think the ChatGPT version may be slightly better because they're extracting the functions, but mine is shorter. So if you just stare at it for long enough, mine will fit in your brain perhaps more easily. And I think that my approach is easier to reason about. You don't have to convince yourself that this is right, because this is just literally looking at the string representations and reversing. So I don't think there is a clear winner. Do you have an opinion on this? Which version would you rather read?
I think your version was slightly more elegant and more, how can I say it? Not streamlined. Golfed? No. Bo is saying the JSFX version. Yeah, that always wins. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about this solution by ChatGPT is that you could do this in JSFX very easily. While this version, it's a bit trickier. I'm not sure if JSFX has a function to reverse a string. If it does, then implementing this is straightforward, but if it doesn't, then implementing this is super annoying. But other than that, the C++ version would look very similar to the JSFX version in terms of how it reasons about things. And that's by design. JSFX has been designed to be approachable by C++ programmers. That was a fun exercise. I like it, and I think it's time for me to go so that people can turn off the lights here.
Okay, but I just remembered what I wanted to implement in JSFX. This is going to be another part of my homework for next week. So I'm not going to just remove the stuff that's not necessary. That's going to be a big challenge. The other challenge in filter light, I plan to implement some of the JSFX forks of Air Windows specifically, and specifically I want to add 3 stuff: the DC offset remover by Chokehold, the hypersonic filter by Air Windows, which is cutting off. It's a biquad filter that cuts off everything after 48K, I think. And the safety clipper, like the clip only 2, or maybe I'm going to use something by Psyche, but I wanted to have a limiter just in case those filters go crazy. Just like I did in Wild, which is available on Fotis and stuff, GitHub. It's out in the wild and it's free and open source and you can get it. Sorry. Stop.
All right. So let's wrap this up then. Thank you very much for being here, Fotis, Bo, and Siwitz. It's always great to have you. And
Likewise.
Thank you to ChatGPT for the answer. And thank you to Tukan, John, and Strato, and Not Was One for joining us here on the chat. Looking forward to seeing you all soon again in the near future. And yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the stream. You know how great it has been. Or maybe it sucked, and I am glad that you stuck with me. And soon we'll all be back together for some more coding or talking or chilling. The next time I'll be streaming.